I want a lot of people to learn from my story because at this junction, I am living in total regrets, full of pains and sorrow.
Real life stories inspiring without fail. Laverita TV, where truth is told. Tune in, be inspired, your story unfolds.
Here is story time with Kenny on Laverita TV. I remain your host for the program, Kendi Mohammed. I would like to appreciate every one of you. You've been an amazing fan so far. Here's the narration of today's story. But before I start the narration, let's quickly go for a commercial break. We'll be right back.
You got what it takes to do it. You got what it takes to do it now. You can make it, you can make it. You can make it, you can make it.
Forget what you're going through. Focus on where you're going to. Forget the numbers of times you fall. Look up and you can get up. Foes want you down, Father wants you up. Full of your dream and you gon' make it. Cause life is what you make it, my brother, and we gon' make it. My sister, you a diamond, they can never ever break you. Look up to the sky, let the most high elevate you. Flip your critics, they got a headache, then let them get the medic. We never panic, we're standing firm, developing.
Welcome back. And here is the narration of the story. During my university days in school, God brought me together with a lady from the year 1. And as time goes by, we became best of friends. We are not just friends, we were sisters. Because a lot of persons usually think we were related. But no, we met at the 4 walls of the university. Our friendship grew stronger. And after school, we went for service. But we actually didn't serve in the same state. Service took us to different states. But what happened after life after service? I got a job and my friend on the other hand did not get a job. I got a job at a big organization in Kano State. And being a good friend that I am, I chatted my friend and I was like, instead of staying home without a job doing nothing, why not come over to my place and let's start afresh. And from there we can submit your applications and your credentials to different organizations. This Kano State is known as a place for different opportunities. And after she discussed with her family members, they allowed her. And she came over, we were friends, and everything was moving smooth. Despite the fact that I showed her a lot of responsibility in the house, but I never for once saw her as a liability. Because why? We have been friends from university days. I was the one catering for everything, down to her pad, her recharge card, her data. But I loved her so much that I never for once complained. But she had a friend who was in another state. You have sometimes heard of that friend. Yes, she has told me about that friend, but I know nothing about this very friend. I just know she stayed in a state far from ours. But I have never for once asked her about who this person really is because I never thought of anything. I felt even if I am her best friend, it's never a bad idea if she has other friends. And everything was moving smooth. I'll go out, go to work, and come back in the evening, leaving her at home. But one of these evenings, I went to work, came back, and when I came back, I searched everywhere. Where is so person? It's unlike her. Most times if she's going out, she'll have to call me, okay, I dey come out, see you when I come back. I want to go and see so person. I'll be back. But this evening was a little bit different. Despite she was not at home, she still moved with some of her belongings. I was wondering, I said, in the morning we didn't have an issue before I left home. Everything was actually fine. So how comes, what happened along the line that she left without even informing me? So I called her families and they were like, so person is not here, we didn't see her. I was wondering, so I asked them, I said, was it that she told you people that she was coming over? They said no, that she didn't tell us about coming over. I kept calling and calling and calling. Even though I was angry that she left without telling me, I still kept praying that hope she will be fine wherever she is. I called and called and called, but she never picked up my call. But along the line, what happened? She went to meet that particular friend in a state far from us. I was not aware of the whole issue. And when she got to that state, she and that friend now went to another state to meet another friend. That is, they were 3 in number, right? They are 3 in number now. So 3 of them went to a native doctor. And those other friends were into prostitution. And since she was jobless at that time, without a job and doing nothing, so I think maybe they had actually advised her that, okay, you can, instead of doing nothing, why not go into prostitution like us? And she agreed. Because why? She was tired of being a liability. And after some weeks, she came back in one of the evenings. So when she came back and I saw her, I was so angry. And I was like, so you, and what even got me more angry was, she didn't even feel like, yes, I needed to apologize for leaving the house without saying where I'm going. She came back reluctantly, entered the house, and even while I was talking to her, she ignored me without even uttering a word. So it was more like I was the fool that was talking. And things like this get me pissed off, especially when someone ignores me. So, and with so much anger and everything in me, I took my bag, put a few clothes in the bag, and left. I left the house for her. And I went to my boyfriend's place, who was like 20 kilometers away from where we stay. I said, okay, going there, maybe I would go and cool off my head for the meantime, because I was so angry at my roommates for ignoring me. So later that night, in the midnight, around 1 a.m., I received about 2 missed calls from her. But I refused to pick up, because I was like, this was also a person that I was talking to earlier and she ignored me. How come she's now calling me at this time of the night? So is this time she felt it was the right time to narrate where she went to? So I refused speaking because I was still angry. But one man kept telling me, okay, pick. What if she wants to apologize? I said, no, I will not pick. I refuse speaking. But later that morning, a number called me. And that number happens to be my neighbor in the house. So immediately I saw his number, I was like, what happened? I picked. And when I picked, they were asking me, they said, where are you? Where are you? I was like, I'm in so place, I'm in my boyfriend's place. And they said, you have to come back home right now. I said, okay. So I had to pack my things and I went back home. Because from the tone in his voice, it was like there was an emergency at that time. I said, okay. I quickly went home. And when I got home, I got the shocker of my life. What happened? I met a lot of people in the compound. And everybody was sad. From their faces outside, everybody was sad. And when I entered the house, I entered quickly with shock in my face. I entered the room with, what happened? And the next thing I saw was my friend covered with a blanket on the bed. I screamed and shouted, what is happening? And with fear and trembling, I opened up the bed sheets. And when I saw the greatest fear of my life. I saw my friend, blood gushing out from her mouth, her nose, and her ears. She was already dead at that time. I screamed, I shouted, neighbors. That was when neighbors now started explaining and narrating that it was in the midnight when they were, that calls received in the midnight was actually from them, but that it was not from my roommate. I was like, wow, from you guys. And that was when they narrated that in the night, she started screaming like a cat. And when the sound was that, at first the sound started like a normal sound of a cat. But with time, after some minutes, hours, that the sound became worse. And it was as if it was not one cat that was shouting. It was as if several cats started shouting non-stop. And that was when they got scared and they came outside to locate where the sound was coming from. And lo and behold, it was actually coming from my apartment. They knocked and knocked. There was no answer except the sound. And with so much fear, and they had to break the door open. And when they broke the door open, they saw my friend. She was the one making such a sound. And that was when they quickly checked around. They saw it was only my friend that was inside. I was not inside. And that was when they quickly picked up the phone to call me using her phone, my friend's phone. But I was so angry. I was too angry at that moment to pick. And the next morning, they had to use another number, which is a number of a neighbor I know. And that was why when everything down on me that, whoa, that if I had actually known her silence was because of this reason, I would have actually stayed back to hear from her. Because it definitely means her silence means she was passing through a lot. But before we could say anything, before we could do anything, the neighbors went to bring police. But their bringing police was to take the corpse of my friend and also to start an investigation into the matter. And later, during the investigation, the family were called upon. And when the family came and the police narrated everything to them, that this was what happened to their daughter. And the family were like, we have to investigate well, because the death of our daughter must not go fruitless. And the police tried their best. Yes, they tried their best. They made sure they searched all corners of her phone to check the culprits. Even though at that time nobody knew what actually happened to her. But I kept suspecting, I kept feeling, I have this feeling inside of me. I said, was it that when she went, something happened and she could not talk or something? But it was after the police actually opened through her phone, they saw everything. It was through her phone, they saw when she was actually, her friends were narrating somebody to her, explaining somebody to her that they would take her through so that she would come into their prostitution business in a state. And from there, they got the hints to everything that happened. But the family still insisted, though, that definitely, my aunt was in the case. And they know, yes, their daughter must have been used for rituals at that purpose, because when the police did their investigation, they later came to a conclusion that she was used for rituals. But the main culprit, which is her friend in the other state, whom I know nothing much about, was called upon, and she picked the call at first, but later she refused. And the other friend in the other state, because she has, from the beginning of the story I told you, she had two friends she went to meet, one in a state and the other in the state they did the rituals. And the culprits, they ran away. They were never found. But me, on the other hand, I was left to do what? To pay for a crime I know nothing about. Because despite the fact that the police are willing to let go of this issue, because the investigation had actually bring them to a conclusion that she was used for rituals. But the parents felt, no, it's a lie. They feel I had a hand in it. Maybe I chatted with the other girls, okay, let's use her for rituals. But I knew nothing of the issue. Despite my cries, my pleas and everything, they still refused. They insisted that I have something to do with it. But after police were tired and everything, nothing was coming because they were already closing the case and they had to let me go. They said there is nothing more they can do. Even though the family, they threatened and threatened and threatened. And later, there was a statement I stick to, which was said by the mom. She said, you think you will go scot-free? No, you're not going scot-free. Since the government has actually failed us on this, we'll go spiritual. And when she said that, I didn't really take it as a big deal, because I felt maybe she was just blabbing and blabbing. But after 3 days, I was released from the cell. What happened? I started having a growth in my nose. And this growth was bringing out a green pus from it. But this growth didn't only affect my nose alone. No. It affected one side of my eye. It was as if one side of my face is paralyzed. Most nights I go to bed in pains. I suffer a lot, yes. And even my job, I had to resign. Because why? I had to be treating the sickness. I've gone to several hospitals and they'll be like, there's nothing wrong with you. Not until when I went spiritual also, and I was told the attack was from the family of my friend. And I and my family have actually tried to contact them and apologize for everything, even though I know I am not wrong in this. I have nothing in her death. I have no hand in her death. But her family still feels I have something in her death. But there's one question I keep asking myself. Does that mean it's wrong to do good? Because as far as I'm concerned, I only did good to my friend. Should I have actually left her in a jobless state? And I tried to explain to them that she didn't even tell me where she was going to. She left even before I came back to work. But the family refused, because why? They needed someone to pin the whole issue on. But I've tried and tried and tried my best to beg them to forgive me, but it seems forgiveness is of the Lord. So at this junction right now, I'm in a confused state because I'm actually battling with a lot. All I know is I did her good. Yes, I did her good. But if only the dead can speak, I know my friend would have actually narrated the whole issue. But the police tried their best. Yeah, they tried their best. But the family is still insisting that I have a hand in it. At this junction, I don't know what to do anymore because I am tired, I am frustrated with life. And there's one advice I'll keep advising people. If you really want to render help to people, make a cross-examination and think twice before you render help. Because this has actually taught me a lot. And I would like others to learn from this. I am not actually seeking for an advice because I have made the mistake already. If only I could go back in time, I would have gone back to the past when I had the opportunity to say yes or no. Which is yes, she coming over to stay at my place, or no, staying back at her family place. Because if she had actually died in her family house, who would they have held responsible? Would they have looked for someone to pin the whole issue on? I want a lot of people to learn from my story. Because at this junction, I am living in total regrets, full of pains and sorrow. Nobody to talk to. The only person I have right now is my mom. And my mom is also tired of the whole issue. But I believe one day life will be so fair to me. But I pray when life decides to be fair to me, it won't be late for me. So that's all on our story for today. If you'd like your stories to be shared, you can send an email to contact@laveritatvproductions.com. And you can also follow us on all our social media handles. On X is Laverita TV Ltd. On Instagram is Laverita TV Ltd. On YouTube is Laverita TV Ltd. On TikTok is MOFW Dating. And you can also follow us on our Facebook handle, Laverita TV News NG. And also Adekunle Komolafe Foundation TV. See you next time when I bring amazing true life stories your way. From we in the studio, we say bye-bye.
Laverita TV, where hearts are made whole. Storytelling Kenny, a story to be told. Laverita TV, where stories come alive. Kenny's story, a testament to the power of the drive. To overcome, to rise above. Story time with Kenny, a story of hope. Laverita TV, where stories come alive. Kenny's story, a testament to the power